Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us in this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast over Equinoxe television. In our top stories in this edition of the news, a tragic fire incident has plunged a family into unimaginable grief in the Douala Block 11 neighborhood, and the family has been homeless now for several days after the death of 3 children in the fire incident. That was a lone top story. Thank you once more for joining us. A family is sending distress calls to the administration here in the country's economic capital Douala after the family lost 3 children in a devastating fire incident at Block 11 in the Douala 3 subdivision. The family has been homeless for several days. Mala Glory tells us more.
Joaquin Edi is yet to come to terms with the tragic death of his 3 children who were burnt alive in a fire on June 27, 2026. The incident occurred in the Block 11 neighborhood at Entre B, located in the Douala 3 subdivision. The grieving father stated that he was away from home when the inferno broke out. Meanwhile, his brother, Tekle Tetsa, who claimed to be the first person to arrive at the scene, explained that the fire completely engulfed the house in just 30 minutes, making it impossible to rescue the children. The 3 innocent children died alone in their home while both parents were away.
D'autres gens disent que les enfants sont morts devant la porte. Non. Et cette porte n'était pas bloquée. Et voici le dos de la grande sœur et ses pieds de ses côtés. Elle avait protégé ses petites sœurs sur elle. Dans la chambre, ça c'est la chambre.
While the fire caused enormous material damage, the exact cause of the outbreak remains unknown.
There were 3 children who died here. A couple of twins and their sister. They were maintained in fire. We couldn't help them. Up to now, we don't know the origin of the fire. But the security forces are still doing the inquiries.
Quand dans l'enquête, les 2 bouteilles à gaz qui étaient positionnées là, à la sortie là, on a ouvert les 2 bouteilles à gaz, c'était encore scellé. Donc c'est quand on ouvre que le gaz sort. Si vous voulez voir, les bouteilles sont dans la maison là où vous voyez derrière. C'est quand on ouvre que le gaz sort, ça ne s'est pas explosé. C'est pour dire que l'incendie n'est pas causé par une bouteille à gaz.
The tragedy has left Kwekam Edi, his 20-year-old wife, mother of the 3 children, and other family members entirely homeless.
Donc il y avait 7 personnes au total qui dormaient dans cette maison. Lui, il est orphelin de père et de mère. C'est lui qui il a donc appelé ses 2 petits frères.
So they sleep from houses to houses. They don't have any particular seat where they sleep, and even what to eat. They just count on African solidarity for now.
As official investigation continue to determine what triggered the incident, the displaced victims are currently waiting for humanitarian aid.
As holiday travel intensifies across Cameroon, transport authorities in the East region are reinforcing road safety measures to prevent further tragedies. The campaign comes in the wake of the deadly 3-truck collision on National Road number 10 near Atok, which disrupted traffic for 2 days and stranded hundreds of travelers. Innocent report.
The memory of the recent crash at Atok remains fresh. 3 trucks collided and burst into flames on National Road number 10, paralyzing traffic for days, while some passengers sought refuge in nearby mosque. Others were stranded for nearly 2 days before the road was finally reopened. Determined to prevent a repeat of such tragedy, officials from the East Regional Delegation of Transport have intensified road safety sensitization across the region. The campaign comes at a time when holiday travel is gathering pace, with children and their parents filling inter-urban transport agencies. Drivers are being reminded to respect speed limits avoid dangerous overtaking and ensure their vehicles are roadworthy before setting off. DJ Wafo, East Regional Delegate of Transport, says their objective is clear: to achieve zero accidents on highways in the East region. The campaign also targets truck drivers, commercial motorbike riders and other transport operators, encouraging them to make safety their top priority. According to transport authorities, sustained daily sensitization efforts have already yielded encouraging results, with a noticeable decline in serious road crashes and fatalities across the East region. Beyond enforcement, officials believe lasting change depends on every driver applying the highway code, the very rules that earned them their driving license. According to DJ Wafo, if every driver respects the highway code and the principles they learned before obtaining their license, many accidents can be avoided and countless lives will be saved. The sensitization campaign will continue throughout the holiday period, with a special focus on National Road Number 10 and other major highways in the East region, as authorities work to ensure safer journeys ahead of the new school year.
The production and use of fake documents, fake official documents, remains a major problem in Cameroon today, with documents including even presidential decrees now faked and even taken to the national broadcaster for publication. And civil society leaders are raising concerns about this issue and, of course, calling on the authorities to take the appropriate measures to put an end to this phenomenon, but also urging users to ensure that the documents that they use for whatever purpose are official, are authentic. Some of the suspected criminals have been arrested here in Douala by gendarme officers. For me, Armstrong Sander tells us more.
Fake insurance policies, counterfeit stamps, and blank certificates. This is a well-organized scheme that operatives from the Douala 1 Research Brigades of the Gendarmerie uncovered in the Bepanda neighborhoods of the Douala 5. The operation was led by Chief Warrant Officer Paul Severin Bakot, commander of the Douala 1 Research Brigade, and coordinated by Second Lieutenant Arnold Minkwe, an officer with the Douala 1 Gendarmerie Company. At the center of the case is a man presented as a mere insurance broker, but who allegedly crossed the line by producing fake documents intended to deceive clients. The investigation began with a claim file following a road accident on November the 24th, 2025. A victim requested coverage for medical expenses from an insurance company, but during verification, the insurance policy presented did not match the data recorded by the insurer.
Il constate que l'assuré n'a que 2 mois sur son attestation d'assurance. Or, son attestation d'assurance présente 1 an de validité.
A search of his home led to the discovery of stamps, blank insurance certificates, a printer, and numerous other items used to manufacture fake policies.
Il interroge sur les faits, il est tombé aux aveux.
Beyond the financial losses to insurance companies, these fake documents exposes motorists to serious financial and legal consequences in the event of an accident. The alleged forger will now have to answer for his actions in court. According to law enforcement officers, this arrest is part of a broader fight against forging networks that weaken the insurance sector and jeopardize the legal security of policymakers.
Cameroon has reaffirmed its commitment to the voluntary, safe and dignified repatriation of Central African refugees as it hosts a meeting on the Tripartite Commission, bringing together officials from Cameroon, the Central African Republic and the United Nations High Commissioner for refugees. And before the meeting, the Minister of Territorial Administration at Tanganji Paul received in audience the Central African Minister in charge of humanitarian affairs. And according to the Minister of Territorial Administration, speaking during the opening of the tripartite meeting here in Cameroon, the minister said that as of June 30, 2026, Cameroon was hosting more than 412,000 refugees and over 21,000 asylum seekers, including 287,000 Central African refugees, most of whom live in the East Adamawa and North regions. Since the tripartite agreement was signed in June 2019, more than 28,000 refugees have voluntarily returned home. Authorities say the meeting aims to address key challenges slowing the repatriation process, including communication gaps, identification of return candidates, returnees, and security concerns. The government says implementing the tripartite agreement remains a national priority, with experts proposing a roadmap to resume organized voluntary returns in coordination with the Central African Republic and the United Nations Agency for Refugees. And the Central African Minister in charge of humanitarian affairs, Josiane Lina Bamaka Saul, thanked the Cameroon government for ensuring the security and safety of the refugees. She added that the Central African Republic's President Faustin Archange Touadéra wants them to return home to build their country despite the security and health challenges faced by the country at the moment. And on her part, the representative of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees also praised Cameroon's hospitality, adding that it speaks volumes of the commitment of the government of the Republic of Cameroon to respecting international engagements and contributing to regional stability. Now let's take some news out of the country. First, in the Central African Republic, where fuel shortage is raising concerns in the country's capital, Bangui. Lomahiru tells us more about that and more.
In the Central African Republic, a fuel shortage is causing trouble for everyday life in business in Bangui. Since the beginning of the week, many gas stations have stayed closed. Drivers have to wait for hours, often without getting any fuel. Because of this situation, the black market has become the main option. A liter of gas oil is being sold there for 1,500 francs, even though people worry about its quality. The crisis has been affecting residents' daily life for nearly 2 weeks and risks slowly down the capital's economy even more. Although the issue was discussed in the parliament, the government has not yet explained what caused the shortage or what they planned to fix it. In Mali, 6 people close for the former transitional president Badao are appearing in the court this Tuesday, July 14, in Bamako. They are accused of conspiracy against the government. This case started in 2021 and is one of the oldest of its kind under the current transitional government. The accused include Colonel Kassoum Goïta, former head of state security, Khalidou Doumbia, former general security of the presidency, a state security chief warrant officer, a police commissioner, a businessman, and a Marabout religious leader. The specific detail of what they are accused of have not been published. According to their lawyers, they are being persecuted simply because they were close to Badao, who was overthrown in May 2021 by the same military group that led the August 2020 coup.
And that's it for the first part. Talking Point is up next. Our guest today is Pascal TAGUIA FOMEKONG. He's a civil society leader and human rights advocate. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure. It's a big pleasure for me. Big pleasure. Thank you for that. Thank you for this wonderful place, your wonderful television. Thank you for inviting me.
Cameroon and the rest of the African continent remain largely divided along tribal political lines, divided along ideological lines. What's your analysis of this current state of Cameroon and Africa at large?
Listen, sir, we just saw what happened in South Africa recently, and really it brings tears when you think about the appetite and what Africans stood all together to help that country to get out. But one thing, basically, I like to say, certainly I think I'm one of the less intelligent even in Cameroon. I don't think I'm intelligent. Because the one thing I see, if I was intelligent, I would have got it. One thing that please anyone can explain to me. You cannot be 400 years in slavery, and after you are 100 years on colonization, even after colonization and neo-colonization, and you still find the one who put you in that misery to find yourself to identify with him. I'm talking now especially for the case of Cameroon.
Are you saying that the current state of division of Cameroon and the rest of the African continent is imposed on us by foreigners?
Because division hasn't been built only for one country, it's been built all over Africa in one base. We need to go back to it. It's not by chance. It's not anything that just fell from the sky. It's one thing that has been planned in Berlin between November 1884 and February 1885. That was planned by our predators. We know it. It is the history. We know the truth. But we carry on doing like it is our destiny. It is what we are doing is normal. At once we need to sit down and look at ourselves. So I think the division that Africa suffers is not a division that came from heaven or came from anywhere. It's been well planned by predators that are doing it far away, and we sit down like we want to ignore our history. Is it still the trauma that we caught from it? But at one point, we need to sit down and get back to ourselves and know where. At a point in the history, Africa was the top. We need to go back to what we are ourselves, rather than carry on being just victims of one thing that predators sat down once and planned. If anyone can understand that, as I said, he'll tell me, and I'll see, fine, I'm not intelligent to understand that. But for me, I take the case of Cameroon, it is the word, I wouldn't like to say it. It looks like stupid. That after all this we Cameroonians went through, these years of suffering, they find themselves to come and identify. You'll see on the French side, those who want to be like French people, even changing the color of their skin. On the English side, you will see those who say, no, with us, English, Anglophone, that's how we do. And we see our women, naturalization has gone away. Because some are carrying the hair, they want to look at white, you see how they are dark in color, but they take the hair of women that died. Women that died in Brazil, women that died in India, they get big capital to get these things on their hair. I sometimes wonder, when you're a young man, you are caressing your friend, your friend lady, and you put your hand on her hair, maybe it has been cursed, and it is on her head. What do you think about? So really, I don't understand that. I'm sorry. I really want someone to explain that to me. Is it still the trauma? If it is still the trauma, we need to get out. The urgency is to get out. And now, if not, the division is going to be worsening, as in the case of what we saw in South Africa. That has no human explanation.
We need to get out and come out of that and come together as a nation, as a continent. And the question is how? In a context where individualistic interests, perspectives, and struggles seem to be overwhelming general interest at the national level and at the continental level.
For the case of Cameroon, I have got to talk about something that is right and that many have seen as a tip of the iceberg. Cameroonians are called to be the country of light. It's been said. And today many ask themselves, when you see a big sportsman, black man, somewhere, they want to look at the gene. And they think, maybe he has some gene coming from Cameroon. Sometimes people are thinking maybe Serena Williams has to go and do it the same. You have the Eddie Murphys and all these that all their genes come from. Cameroon is a country of light. In the case of Cameroon, Cameroon need urgently to get out of their stupid divisions. It's got no meaning. We've got so much to give to the world, and the world is waiting so much from Cameroon for what is going to come out from Cameroon. Rather than carry on, because we can't, unless we either do it or we will collapse completely. Because we have over 250 tribal differences. Above that, we have 2 cultural differences. So the predators, when they ended in other parts of Africa, Cameroon was so special that they say we can't live. No one of them wanted to leave. They remained, both of them, in Cameroon. Cameroon is the country of light. And Cameroonians have seen this tip of the... When you see the experts like Mila Roger, like a man flying, within a second becoming a bird, like Oman B did at the World Cup, we have thousands of examples. As Ganu just coming up, these are just the tip of the iceberg. Cameroon has much to do. And very soon, I'm convinced that you will see that coming out. They will be coming for Toyota and all this. If we get these differences and get together, they will be coming to produce the wonderful cars from Cameroon. We have all for it.
Pascal TAGUIA, FOMEKONG, civil society leader and human rights advocate. Thank you for joining us in this conversation today. And that's it for today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast over Equinoxe Television. Thank you for staying with us. God bless Cameroon. God bless Africa. Goodbye.